So, welcome everybody. My name is Ange Keats. This is my husband, David.
Welcome.
We're so grateful for you to be here tonight. We are a Lifewave brand partners. We've been with this amazing company for 28 months now. It has been an absolute game changer for our life. And we would love to share what we've experienced with this product. We're not doctors. We're in fact yoga teachers, but so we like to give advice, but we're not your doctor. So we really encourage you to take advice from your own practitioner and also feel into your own instincts about what we're going to tell you. And of course, do your own research always. So we have been with Lifewave for 28 months since April. And I want to pay respects to our really good friend who's also on this call, Sue Ducks. Sue and I have been friends, and as a family, we've known each other for almost 10 years through another business that we're involved with, another network marketing business, which is in the health and wellness industry. So we've been in this space for about 12 years. And, we had this event in 2020 that really put a pause on life and things changed. And a lot of pain and suffering was happening. And I was praying for something, and my good friend Sue rang me and told me about her experience, about how she had been suffering and in pain, and she'd found something that had changed in quite a short period of time. She was actually had a significant miracle event, in my opinion. And so we listened. I was curious. She sent me some information. The question that she asked me was, have you been patched yet? So I'm just going to share my screen with you guys. This is just a presentation because sometimes we're more visual. I'm certainly a visual learner. Can I just get a thumbs up from Jen? Can you see that okay, darling? Thank you, darling. So, yeah, the question was, had I been patched yet? And we could say that we hadn't been patched in April 2024. In fact, we only knew of nicotine patches at this stage. So, this was a whole new concept. But Sue shared with us an amazing miracle experience where her pain was in 20 minutes gone. So we'll talk more about that in testimonial time. But I just want to share with you what Sue shared with me. And now we've shared it with our family and friends and our loved ones. So, David, I'll get you to speak into this next slide.
Sure.
And so, just to give you a bit of background, David is the guinea pig in the family. So, he got to wear the first four patches. And so, he's going to talk to you about this X39 stem cell patch that we're all raving about.
Excuse me, Angie. We've got no slides showing on the screen, darling.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting. Jen, you can see it?
I can see them.
Deb, can you see it?
Yeah, I can see them. Yeah.
Okay. So it might be a glitch for you, darling.
Yeah, okay. I'll
Yeah.
go out and come back in.
Okay, no worries. Sorry about that. So yeah, let's go back to why this X39 stem cell activation patch.
Well, I think what you were just touching on there, a good friend Sue, that's the why. Sue rang Angie and said, I think I've got something that might help David. And a little bit of background about me at the time, I was suffering with all the symptoms of fibromyalgia, which had plagued me for quite a few years. So there was a lot of pain, a lot of operations, a lot of rehab, blah, blah, blah. I could go into that for hours and hours. But Sue thought of me, thank goodness, and I'm forever grateful. And so said to Ange, have you been patched yet? So that's why the X39 stem cell activation patch. And for everybody, why is the faster you age and the slower, sorry, as your stem cells start to decrease over time as you get older, yeah, your stem cells start to, I suppose they're still there, but they're not as active. So you don't heal as fast. And hundreds of millions of people all over the world, they're noticing that they're aging too quickly, as it were. Okay, there's got to be a better way. So when you're about 30 years old, about half of your stem cells are still active. So when you're really young, they're really active, yeah. When you get to about 30, they're about half active. By the time we're at 60, which is not far from me now, there's only very few of those stem cells are working. They say around 10 to 15% are still working. They're still in the body, they're still here, but they're not active. So that's why we see that we don't heal as fast, we don't sleep as well, things like that. Stem cells decline as we age, as I just said. Like we remember with our kids, when they're young ones, they might break a finger or an arm, but they seem to heal so quickly. And when you're about 30 or 40, as we were saying, when you're 30, about half the stem cells, you injure yourself, you still recover quite well. You do your rehab, you go to your physio. But when you get a bit older, 60, 70 and plus, we notice with our relatives and our friends, when you hurt yourself, you do not heal as fast. And so as the stem cells decline, so does that healing capability. Now, David Schmidt, would you like to talk into David Schmidt?
Well, he's a bit of a hero. I've got a thing for David. So I do love this guy. Thanks. I got a laugh from Deb. Thank you. But this guy is why we're all here, and he became a bit of a expert in understanding other creatures in nature who had a lot of stem cells who seemed to defy age, one of them being lobsters. So that's a backstory that I can tell you another time. But he decided to put all of his energy into creating something that would help to reverse the effects of aging. And he discovered that if the body had their stem cells, the endogenous stem cells, woken up through light therapy, that you would start to see quite profound healing capacity. And so he put his own money into all of that research. It took 10 years. He's a bit of a, in my opinion, Nikola Tesla of our time. He's here to help humanity. I love him. I've seen him up close, and he's like super cool. He's a real human, and he loves sort of helping humanity without all of the nasty stuff. So he's like bringing this technology to the world as quickly as he possibly can. He's got over 200 patents. So he's pretty smart, and he is in that inventor genius class of humans, which is really cool. And we get the benefits of that. And he created a patented product that we now wear. I just took my X39 off actually, and I've got my nighttime patch, my Eon, which I normally wear on my third eye, but the X39 is what we're all about. So if you could only wear one patch, this would be it. And you can see that this patent has been registered in the US Patents Office. And to get a patent, you have to be able to make a claim and prove that what your product says it does, it does. And so what he has shown is that it increases your GHK copper peptide. Now, as part of that, if you look deeper into that, this particular peptide is endogenous within us. And he has shown that by increasing your own copper peptides, you allow your stem cells to start to wake up. That kind of goes hand in hand. But that's for the real nerdy kind of people. And I totally respect that. There is a lot of information that you can go into and dive deep on this. So yeah, whoever invited you to this will show you all those doorways, and I'll show you the doorway at the end too.
And how to wear the X39. You wear the X39 for 12 hours on and 12 hours off. So your body needs time to use what it's created. So you're creating during the day, as it were, and at night you don't wear the patch, and that's where we sleep, we heal, and we rest and we digest. And so you throw the patch away when you finish with it, you wake up the morning, you do it again. The reason why they're showing on the screen there where they're wearing the patch, either under the belly button or on the back of the neck, this is where they do the clinical studies. So to do clinical studies, things have to be consistent. So they're the spaces they wear them. Those of us who've been patching for quite a while, and also I've heard David Schmidt say this in interviews, is wear the patch in these places or anywhere on your body where you might have pain. So today I've got mine on my shoulder because an old injury has rejoined me from something silly I was doing last week. And so I'm wearing mine on my shoulder there, and that's helped me today. The only thing I say you really need to do, and
Got
not
the
the
old
dog,
patch on the dog.
the dog's wearing one too because she was limping yesterday.
Had a little limp, so we put the old patch on Pepper.
There you go. So the only thing I say that we all need to do when we start patching and when we're patching is drink plenty of water. Find yourself a really good electrolyte, or I love using Celtic salt in the water to get those electrolytes, etc., and add extra water. So if you're really good and you drink 2 to 3 liters of water a day, try and add a little bit more because a lot of stuff's happening inside your body when you start patching.
Did you want to keep going?
Yeah, how the X39 works. Yeah, it's a proprietary form of phototherapy. So phototherapy means light therapy. Yeah, it's there's little nanotechnology inside the patch which is patented. So it's a bit like the 11 herbs and spices. I'm not going to tell you what they are. And that reflects light back into your body to activate things. Angie's mentioned the copper peptide, GHKCU. And that is a big buzzword at the moment because they know that by activating that peptide, it activates a lot of other things in your body. One of the big ones is it activates those dormant stem cells. And you're probably hearing a lot about peptides at the moment. The peptide industry has gone insane. You can buy anything online, of Amazon, of Temu, anywhere you can buy peptides. And they understand that the peptides which are inside us already, if we can activate that stuff, which is what David's been able to do with this technology, that's the way to heal ourselves rather than starting to inject ourselves because who knows where that's going to go. The patch is non-transdermal, so nothing's going into our skin. Nothing passes from the patch into your skin except frequency. There's no drugs, there's no stimulants, and it's completely non-invasive. And for someone who's been through a big journey, who's been through spinal surgery, shoulder surgery, knee surgery, more visits to
Spiritual surgery.
more visits to chiros, surgeons' offices that I ever wish for anybody to have, and of the obvious pharmaceutical implications that come with that, with painkillers and rehab and what have you, to find out that I had the opportunity to feel better without having to take on any side effects, that for me was the big winner. Because even though you might get yourself out of pain, everyone around you, they suffer because the family has to put up with the grumpy moods and the dull brain and the tiredness and all that sort of stuff.
Which leads perfectly into this slide because definitely David having gone through surgery, and he'll tell you his own testimony soon, but you know, there's benefits to pharmaceutical medication for sure, but unfortunately they can have their side effects. And one of them was mental clarity. So one thing I really noticed, even with David, was mental clarity, and in myself. But you can see that who doesn't want increased strength, reducing your inflammation? I mean, everything in our world right now creates inflammation, right through from the food we eat to the water we consume, to the phones, the EMF from the phones, the 5G towers. All of those things impact us. It's not like when our great grandparents were alive. It's very different. So we want increased stamina. We want to have energy and vitality, and we want, you know, skin is a very good indicator of your internal health. So when your skin improves, and I had a skin tag that fell off, and sleep, I mean, not to mention the sleep factor, which I'll talk to you about when we get to testimonies. So these are the benefits that we can put our hands on our heart and say, this is what's happening. Offline, I'd love to tell you some other miracle stories too, but this is definitely what we can say. And we're not here to diagnose, treat, or to cure anything, but to potentially, you know, give people hope as well. So the long-term results. Now, look, we have about 19,000 genes in our body, protein genes. So the first few days, if not the first month, there is a bit of a detox effect that might look like a bit of extra, time in the toilet because you're drinking more water. So you're going to the toilet a little bit more, but your 4,000 genes are resetting in that process. Within 6 weeks, we can see in MRIs that your brain starts to become more balanced. So within 3 months, because of that copper peptide that I mentioned before, we're seeing collagen is increased. And collagen, not just for your external skin, but also for your internal organs. Everything is wrapped in a type of collagen. So you think arteries and veins and circulatory system and your lungs and all of these things. So within 6 months, we can say that our heart has reversed in age. We used to put a number on that. We don't put a number on that. But, even if it doesn't get more deteriorated, I think that's a really good thing too. So we'll go to the next slide. And I love this, if you want to speak into this.
Yeah, well, this is results of the topography map. Angie was just speaking about that, how you can see how things change. Now, this is a 77-year-old lady, I think it is.
Yes,
used to be on
yes.
used to be on there. 77, I think it is, year-old lady.
Elderly lady.
Not that old.
Not that old.
Not that old. So you can see on the left there at session 1, the red is inflammation. Okay, so you can see on the side with the scale is there. So she hasn't started the X39 yet. She has inflammation in the brain, and she has a lot of brain. It's not coherent. Yeah, incoherence. So session 2, which is 3 weeks on X39, you can see that the inflammation is all but gone. There's no more red there, which is an amazing testimony. And she has increased sort of brain coherence. That started to come together a bit more. And then session 3 is at 6 weeks on the X39. It's completely gone. There's, it's just that little shade of blue through there, which is almost nothing. And she's got better brain coherence. Now, it's great to be able to see this so we can visualize it and know that these tests have been done. And when we see this sort of stuff, you just go, aha. And it's a bit of aha as to, with myself, it took about maybe 2 months for let's call it brain fog, but that's how long it took for me. And it was just, I describe it as driving up out of a tunnel. That's how it felt coming into light. And so this is the journey that we can all have.
Yeah, amazing. And I just want to say too that, if this woman has gone to the extent of having these tests done, she's probably quite conscious of her health. So she's probably done all the things and, maybe added extra water and salts to her life to see some really big benefits. So let's just sort of think to yourself, what are some things that you would like to see as a benefit? And imagine yourself telling your testimony maybe in 28 months, because we only did this for a short amount of time. I thought, oh yeah, I'll just do it for 6 months, but 28 months and everything, all parts of my life keep getting better, not just from a physical health perspective, but from a mental perspective, because life is intense. And so I just feel like, we have had a few curveballs the last month, and I just had that increased energy. So I'll hand the microphone back over to David, because his story I've watched. Obviously, I'm his wife. We've been together for 26 years. We've got 2 kids. Started when he was 39 and he's 55 now. So we changed our whole life around health and increasing David's health, and obviously the whole family benefits from that. So we will dive a little bit into David's diagnosis specifically now on fibromyalgia, because I think that's really for people who have been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and David will explain to you what he thinks about that diagnosis. It's hopefully this video, our intention is that this gives people a little bit of hope.
Thank you. Yeah. So, and I won't use the word fibromyalgia in my testimony. I'll use the phrase the symptoms of, because as we know, we're not here to diagnose or treat any particular condition, but I had all the symptoms of, and I was diagnosed with. But when you're that person, when you're that guy, was the only person I've ever been as a guy. When you're that guy and waking up in the morning is something you dread, when the first things that run through your head are not positive, and when you know that all that lays ahead for you is struggle and pain until you get back into bed that night, you start to lose a little bit of hope. And if we can go back to the first slide where Sue said, "Have you been patched?" Well, my first thought was, look, no, and you can take your little band-aids and leave. Because when you've been through stuff, and as Angie said about the lady from the topography map on her brain, she's probably tried everything. And trust me, I'd tried everything. Like, I'd tried everything. You name it, I'd tried it. I've been in, you know, different everything from Reiki healing to cortisone injections to PRPs to stem cell injections to you name it, I'd had it. Yeah, and some ground
Exorcism.
almost, yeah. So when Sue said, "Have you tried this?" It was obviously confronting for me, and I wasn't wasn't only skeptical, I was almost offended. But after 4 days, something had changed. And that's my testimony, is that something had changed. I wasn't sure what had changed, but I knew I was sleeping deeper and I knew I started to feel better. As I said earlier, my real aha moment was at about 2 months when things really started to change. As time went on, I'll just run through a few things. My nails are harder. My teeth, I can feel like I can bite through steel. My bald patch on the top of my head has got better. My neck pain is it's almost not there. My lower back issues that I used to have are probably 50% of what they used to be. I still got my aches and pains, but I'm so much happier. And I'll be honest with you, the first thing that runs through my brain in the morning are things I'm grateful for. So if that's all that's happened in the last 27, 28 months, I think that's fantastic.
I think that's really cool. So yeah, I've watched this journey and I've done every lotion potion on David, and we've stayed away from the doctors as much as we can. They've been amazing parts of our journey as well, but we found that we needed to empower ourselves. This was the game changer for us, and so our 20-year-old and our 18-year-old have also been patched for 28 months. And I can tell you that having two teenagers go through year 11 and 12 basically together, we had a really, really good couple of years, and we had a lot of curveballs in that time as well. So gratitude is the ultimate testimony for us Keatses. And so I'm going to go straight into sort of a bit of a business chat. I'm going to keep it
Can I
to,
just touch
yes,
on
of
one thing?
course.
I'm just here looking at the screen and the word emotionals there, and I just wanted to touch on the fact that I talked a lot about physical stuff there. And one thing I know is, as Angie said, there's a few curveballs. I watched Angie heal from the grief of her father passing, because that wasn't long before we started the X39s. And I watched that change. I watched her whole body be able to handle it better. I lost my father less than 2 weeks ago. I know that within myself, I know that I can check and watch my emotions better than I could before. And I don't suppress my emotions, but I know that I can, I don't know, calculate them better in my brain, if that's a good way of putting it.
Just
But
bit more resilience or something.
yeah,
Resilience.
there's a clarity of mind and there's a balance in here now that
Grounding.
that there was never before in my life.
Yeah.
Ever.
And keep in mind, we're yoga teachers, and so we don't have all the answers. We have to show up for ourselves too. And that's through meditation and prayer and giving thanks and being appreciative. So all these things definitely help. And we're very, very grateful that Sue rang us that day, and we'll be friends for life. And so there's a few people that are on this call tonight too that I'm super grateful for too, for trusting us. So and, just to talk business, because we are brand partners, that means that when we share it with our friends, we get paid from Lifewave to share it. And we're part of something that's growing. So without boring you with too many numbers, you can see that we're on the upward trajectory, and we're part of something that's growing because it works. If it didn't work, we would be flatlining or going down, but we're upward trending.
And we wouldn't be here if it didn't work.
Correct, correct. So I think 28 months is a pretty good testimony of staying power. And so you're part of a binary compensation plan, which for people that are new to network marketing, this is a whole other lesson. But for people that are maybe stalwarts of this industry, this is a very generous compensation plan. And I would recommend that you look into it a little bit deeper. Obviously, we don't make any claims of income. If you turn up to a meeting with, dirty hair and no shoes, well, luck. You still have to treat this like a professional. I am a network marketing professional, and I get paid bonuses and commissions to do that. I love people. I'm a yoga teacher. But this is the reality of life, is that if we do something that helps people, why shouldn't we be rewarded? And in terms of a Lifewave business, it is a very low startup cost compared to bricks and mortar. Just prior to starting Lifewave, we were about to dive into $750,000 worth of debt to buy into a recovery center, because that's the space we're in, and we love that. And we were packing it, thinking, oh my God, we're going to have to get a mortgage. We're debt free. Oh, but this is the future. And then, of course, we've got a business that we started with less than $3,000. Not everybody can do that. So Lifewave have made it possible that you can buy in slowly, share it with your friends, get people started. Don't think that you're going to do everything overnight. That's the same slide twice. That's okay. And so you're going to go back to the person that invited you to this video and ask them to share how they should start. My recommendation is that you start with a kit, because that's the cheapest way to do it. And there are different price points, and it's wherever you're comfortable with. But I will say this, we sold something to get into this business because we didn't have the cash in our bank and we had school fees to pay. And it's the best decision we ever made. Not only have I helped our family, other families, mums, single mums, all of the things over the years with our other business, we're in this for a long time. So you're joining an amazing team. You get to join the This Is It team. And I consciously chose to become a part of this team because I trusted Sue. So if you trust the person that's invited you to this call, go back to them and say, hey, I'm going to at least give it a go for myself, and maybe I'm going to tell 2 people. Because as soon as you start to tell at least 2 people, you're going to get your products for free, and we're going to teach you everything you need to know. And if you say, I can't afford this, well, we'll show you a way to make it affordable and potentially even replace your income. This is the goal. So This Is It team.com is the place where you will do all your training, and thisisitinfo.com is where you will find all the information you need in terms of testimonials. They're just being updated at the moment, but you'll find a lot of things on YouTube. I've got my own, we've got our own channel, Wellness Collective Club, on YouTube. I encourage you to go and check it out. We're creating a little bit of content, and we put up free yoga classes as well. We're creating community because we are not just in this for the money. We are here to see the world heal. This planet, this earthly plane, whether you believe you're a flat earther or a globalist, we can have another conversation on that. We want to see people well again. We were born in the 70s. People were well, but the last 5 years have really pushed things past the point of, for a lot of people losing hope. And we want to bring hope back to people.
Yeah.
So I think the intention is good. Keep sharing, keep talking to people, keep wearing your patch, keep drinking water. You're amazing healing miracle. And these patches just wake you up to your own amazingness, your own magnificence. So I'll stop the recording, and then we can maybe have a little bit of Q&A. And